days ago, Jonathan Taylor slotted the key penalty that handed Napier City Rovers the Qantas New Zealand National Club Championship. Today, his captain Marty Akers and the Blues front up again at North Harbour Stadium in an attempt to do the double. It's the Bluebird Chatham Cup, and in their way, Central United. And welcome to North Harbour Stadium for the second part of our footballing double. Last night, the Chilean Olympic team defeated the Football Kings in a pre-season match 1-0. Who will take out the Bluebird Chatham Cup today under rather threatening skies and cool conditions with a really strong breeze blowing across the park? Hello, Stephen McIver with former All-White Chris Turner. And Chris, all the talk this week has been about Napier City doing the double. In your opinion, can they do the double?
No, Stephen, I don't think so. I'd love to see it in some ways, but I just think Central might have too much class, and I think they'll have too much pace down the flanks, and in Fred de Jong, I think they just might have the key player.
Yes, and talking about going down the flanks, the ground condition isn't in flash, Nick. It's very, very gluggy through the middle, so that will be interesting to watch. But we spoke to the Blues captain, Marty Akers, prior to the match, and asked him, can they do the double?
We haven't come up all this way to blow it, so we're definitely going to be putting our best effort forward today.
Have you trained well this week?
We actually took Tuesday off and had a nice light session on Thursday with a bit of intensity later on, yeah.
How key is Fred de Jong for Central?
Very. I mean, he's a world-class player, just about. His strength in the air and his ability on the ball is superb, but we're not worrying about one player. We're actually concerning about our team.
And the condition of the ground not flash today?
No, a bit wet. Better than last week, I'd like to say. And I just think nice water on top will just zip that ball a little bit more, so it'd be nice. Speaking of the devil.
Yeah, pretty close to that. Marty Akers, captain of Napier City Rovers. He talked about Fred de Jong, but you also got to look at Noah Hickey and Matthew Erlevick out wide. That Ricky Herbert suggests that's the way they are going to play it.
In these conditions, when it's a bit slippery, it's a good tactic to get round the back, and Matthew Erlevick and Noah Hickey are class players. And even though Pilcher, I was very impressed with him last week. Good to see a young player running at defenders. I think Noah Hickey and Matthew Erlevick just might have a bit too much for them.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, too, at the back, who scored the winner last week, was also pretty impressive. As we remind you of the semi-final results for this Bluebird Chatham Cup, and it was Miramar Rangers on the end of a 4-1 beating at the hand of Rovers, and Central United beating Dunedin Tactical, the defending champions, 1-0. Now both these sides, Napier and Central, have faced each other this season, and 1-0 at home to each side, so it's, we're at a neutral ground now.
Yeah, I don't think that's got anything to do with it. It's like last week, it just comes down to the team that doesn't make mistakes, and I guess in the team that takes their chances. Napier are going to rely very much on Perry Cotton at the back, organising their defence as well as he did last week, and Marty Akers up front's really got to play well for them to have a chance. And don't forget Jimmy Cudd, this class player in the middle of the park for Napier. He's the man. I think if Napier are going to win, he's really going to have to play out of his skin.
Yeah, the question is, do Central United have too much class? The Chatham Cup, that is what is online today. The Bluebird Chatham Cup, presented to the New Zealand Football Association back in 1922 from the crew of HMS Chatham for services rendered, and that is a complete replica of the FA Cup. That's what is on show today and up for grabs, the Bluebird Chatham Cup. Who will it be? These supporters have come to see Napier City Rovers try and do the double, and then there are the fans of Central United. Central United to the right of your screen, and the yellow and blue Napier City to the left. It's all on. It's our second part of our footballing double today at North Harbour Stadium. It's Napier City Rovers against Central United for the Bluebird Chatham Cup, live on Sky.
Thanks, Stephen. And there is the captain, Marty Akers, for Napier. North Harbour Stadium has been plagued by some rain showers this afternoon, but for the moment the sun is poking through the clouds, and the fans have put away the brollies. So it's looking good for conditions, and we just hope the rain holds out. Central United have a perfect record in Chatham Cup finals. They won in 97 and 98. They're led by their captain, Michael Redenton. Their strength is out wide, though, with Matthew Erlevick and Noah Hickey. Up front is the wily Fred de Jong, who's partnering Mark Elric in attack for Central. There's Fred de Jong, former Kings player, and I know the Kings hierarchy would love to see him back on a performance-based contract. Remains to be seen if he does play with the Kings this season. And Napier, they're attempting to win the double. They last achieved that in 1993. The Rovers have a rock-solid defence led by Perry Cotton and Jonathan Taylor. Scott Pilcher loves to get forward out wide. Jimmy Cudd is the creator in midfield. Up front is the experienced Marty Akers. There's the reserves and a good bench for Napier City. Bernie's scored something like 8 or 9 goals in the league this season. And there's Jimmy Cudd. Oh, last week, Chris Turner, he was outstanding, especially in the first half. He perhaps just ran out of legs late in that second half and certainly into extra time, but they'll be looking to him once again.
David, he is a key player. You're right, he did run out of gas a little bit, and it's actually going to be a big ask for Napier to get up twice in a week. You know, they really play well, I guess, over 2 weeks to get through to this a chance where they can win the double. I think Central may just be a little bit fresh, and I do believe Central have got a little bit more class in key positions. But in cup finals, anything can happen, and if Napier, the longer the game goes on, I do believe Central will get a little bit frustrated.
The referee for this afternoon's contest is Derek Rugg. It's always a good shot to start the match, and the first half underway. Can Napier win the double here at North Harbour Stadium? They're in the blue. Central United in the yellow strip with blue shorts, and they have a perfect record, as mentioned before, winning the Chatham Cup in 97 and 98. And here they are through Jimmy Cudd in the middle. And that's Stephen McIver mentioned that in the opening, Chris, about that the middle of the park here. It's just a bit gluggy, so perhaps we'll see the long balls being bombed in.
Yes, especially Central may look to bypass that middle a little bit and look to find Fred de Jong early up front. You know, Fred is just so good at holding the ball up, winning high balls in the air and bringing his midfield into the game. And also have a look at this young number 15, Miro Major. We've talked about Jimmy Cudd, but young Miro's had an excellent season. One of our more promising young players around. He's got a lot of skill.
Certainly has. Scott Pilcher shares the same sort of haircut as Jimmy Cudd. And here's Napier pushing forward. Akers, and there was a foul clearly on the number 20, Chris McIver. Or he gave away the foul, in fact. So there'll be a settling down period in goal for a bit of shirt pulling. Thought it was on the 20, but close call that for the referee. A high ball in first. Attempted touch there for De Jong, who's on the ball now. Out wide, Central build. And here's a chance in the middle, but the flag was up for offside on the number 5, Fred de Jong. And what's his chances of playing with the Kings, Chris?
Well, we'd love to see him with us. There's no doubt about it. We've had a talk to Fred about a week ago, and clearly, if Fred wants to play for us next season, we will do everything we can to make sure that he does. The ball's in his court, and I understand that Fred's looking at situations like whether his knee will hold up. Obviously, he's got a young family, and he wants to do the best by them, which he always does, and his work commitment. So if he can make all that work, then, yep, there is a possibility that he will join us. And I must say, David, that without him, it's very hard to replace him. There's not really another player of his type in the country. And I think last year in our first season for the Kings, he proved what an asset he was.
And here's Central push ahead once again. Down that left-hand flank is Erlovic. And that's where they get the most of the traffic out wide, Central. But Jimmy Cudd bobs up deep in his own half. Turn around. Erlovic once again. Through he goes. A lovely return ball, and the flag is up just on Matthew Erlovic, and that was a close call.
There's a few danger signs for Napier already. We saw Noah Hickey get a good cross in from the right, and Matthew Erlovic, who's the brother of Paul Erlovic, and he's a very, very good player, Matthew. He's dangerous himself. He was in the Olympic squad, and his ability, he's got pace and to get past people and get crosses in, and I think the Napier flanks are going to be in for a busy time today.
We saw Scott Pilcher last week really create some havoc in the first half, but a different sort of combination. I think the wide players of Central a lot more potent than University last week, and they'll find that today, Chris.
Absolutely. I think Mount Wellington, University of Mount Wellington last week didn't have a lot of shape in the attacking third, but this Central side would. And I mean, you only have to look at the two strikers. You've got De Jong and you've got Mark Elric, who's again performed very well international level. One of the things that Mark Elric will look forward to today is these conditions will suit his ability to shoot from long range. He's got one of the best shots in the country.
Actually, it'll be a fascinating contest because McIver and Pilcher on the left and right hand flanks respectively love to get forward. as do their opposite numbers, so it'll be a classic case of wing-backs attacking.
Pilcher did so well last week. I was very impressed with the fact that he was prepared to run at people. It's one of the weaknesses in the game in New Zealand, and that attacking third. Attackers don't want to really get at defenders and cause them problems, and Pilcher did it very well.
Contest in midfield. Chance for Central. Mark Elric is the number 7, who partners Fred de Jong up front. There's Miro Major, who's an attacking type midfield player. And that's a poor ball delivered by Bruce Hill. So there's some quality all over the park. We'll just see how the sort of traffic of matches affect Napier. They've had a lot of football in the last 3 weeks. And Mark Paston, how about his performance last week? Chris, he was a villain 1 second and a hero the next. In the penalty shootout, he was fantastic, wasn't he?
Yeah, it shows you the ups and downs of football. I thought Simon Eadie, the University of Mount Wellington goalkeeper, was outstanding last week. And Mark, who's a good goalkeeper, struggled a bit, especially in the air. But when it came to the penalty shootout, he did the business for his side and made 2 great saves. Also interesting, David, looking at the tactics of the side. Napier are basically playing 4-4-2, whereas Central tend to play with 2 wing-backs and 3 in the middle of the park. And at the back, they'll play a sweeper with 2 man markers. Obviously, one of them will have a big job to do on Marty Akers.
And I think Fred de Jong's running off the ball will be interesting to see. We were involved with him in commentary last night for the Kings match, and I think we were doing a bit of ribbing with him. In a sense, he was playing down Central's chances, but I think quietly he was fairly confident they could upset Napier here. Oh,
listen, Fred, he's been there and done it all. Same as last night. I'm sure he would have loved to have been out against that Chilean 11, and he knows deep down that even against a quality side like Chile, he would have fancied his chances.
I can remember him as a younger person in Australia, winning championships with Marconi all those years ago, so he certainly has been a player that's enjoyed success in his career.
I think he won 2 champions in a row with Marconi, from memory.
Under Bertie Mariani. Free kick to Napier. See the foul there on McIver. It was a pretty soft one, really. But Jimmy Cudd will have the dead ball. He's the dead ball specialist for the Rovers. Some height in the box for Napier. Floats it into the back post, and a chance getting up high there was their number 8, Scott Pilcher. But the dead ball had far too much carry. And the goalkeeper for Central, Ross Nicholson, interesting characters, played for the All Whites, also for the Kings. But I think in New Zealand football at the moment, Chris, there's a lot of goalkeepers around Nicholson's standard at the moment. They're just vying for that, perhaps the second Kings spot.
Yes, they are. There's 2 or 3 of them. That's not a bad cross coming in there, and he's done very well there, Nicholson. He's also did very, very well in the Medica tournament recently for the All Whites. But Chris Marsh, I thought, had an excellent game last night for the Football Kings. Nicholson's a good goalkeeper, Eadie and Paston, and they're all pretty much of a muchness, and it's really a case of looking for one of them to break ahead and really stamp their mark and put the other 3 behind them a little bit. Good ball.
It's a lovely ball in behind the fence for Noah Hickey, who's off down the right. One player in the middle is Fred de Jong, and a chance at the near post. Fairly well defended. Cut with some time and space and delivers nicely to McIver.
He'll be a bit disappointed there, Noah, because he did so well to get round the back. And when you get there, you've got to get your cross in with pace, and you've got to clear the front man. And he'll be disappointed that he couldn't find Fred de Jong or Elric.
Here's Erlevic, the other winger. Good-looking cross in. Chance for Central to build once again. Erlevic, patient. De Jong's got some height, and almost an own goal as flashing into the box there was Jimmy Cudd. He can be a little bit lax in defence and just threw the boot out there.
Yeah, he was a little bit lucky. He could have just flicked that into the roof of the net. And Fred de Jong again, they just ghosted and got a touch. I'm not too sure why Fred's got number 5 on his back, David. Maybe thinks he's going to finish his career out as a centre-back.
Miro Major. In the corner for Central. Back post. And well taken there by Mark Paston. Akers He was so strong, especially in the first half. Just loves to hold the ball up and deliver. Here's a chance for Pilcher. Loves taking on defenders. Gets to the byline with pace. But a clean tackle there. And a very good defensive effort by the number 6 for Central, Bruce Hill.
That's excellent work by Pilcher, though. That's what he did last week. He received an excellent little flick there from Marty Akers, and he just attacks Bruce Hill here, who does well to stay with him. But again, for any young player watching, if you go around the outside, even if the defender gets a foot in, you're always going to get a corner or something like that. Pilcher, we want to see him do more of that.
So corner now to Napier. And a floating one. A bit of width, but it's whipped away with a header. And loping after it is Perry Cotton, who does well. Pilcher summing up the options, floats the ball in, but that was a poorly delivered ball. He had options left and right, Scott Pilcher, and I think where you've got some time in midfield, you really need to play the ball to feet and get something moving in that direction.
Be very disappointed with that. I do think conditions are not as bad as possibly what they look. It is a little bit muddy in the middle, but there's no wind, and with the rain that has been around, the players will actually quite enjoy that, and that will help the passing game a little bit. So I don't think there's too many excuses for poor delivery, and there's a good chance here.
Great run through the middle there by Bruce Hill. Cut under some pressure at the back. Chance there for Jackson. It's tied it up by the number 2, Redenton, the captain, and it floats out on the grandstand side. So this Chatham Cup final was 10 minutes old, and it's Central 0, Napier 0 at North Harbour Stadium. And the Harbour's had some rain this week, Chris, so it's held up pretty well.
Yeah, not bad at all. And it's interesting here that Central are packing their midfield with Vuksic and Hill and Major right in the middle of the park. They're really making it difficult for Napier to get through, as we see here. Nice little interchange of passing. Then they'll look to find Vuksic or Noah Hickey on the flanks.
Erlovic just lost his footing momentarily. Floating ball in, but a poorly delivered one by Jason New. Down the right-hand flank now. Gareth Rowe.
Jason New will be looking forward to this, David, being an ex-Napier player. He would, I'm sure, would love to put one across his old teammates.
He's played in 11 finals, Chris, both Cup and League, so he's a very experienced campaigner. You throw in De Jong and a couple of other players, and they've got equally as much experience as Napier.
Yeah, Jason New's a very underrated player. He's what I call like a player's player. He always does his job. He's very reliable, never lets anybody down.
Perry Cotton shields it well for his opposite number 5 in Fred De Jong. And I thought Fred was a nice shy boy, but he's over having a bit of a rip to the linesman.
You telling me he's not very happy with that decision?
Well, I think he wasn't. It is a bit unusual seeing him wear the number 5.
You don't see Fred upset too often either. One of the things about playing a striker when you're Marty Akers or Fred De Jong is that over the years you get used to getting belted and whacked, and discipline's a big part of the game. And those two players, they discipline themselves very well.
Perry Cotton. Atkins is the number 4 for Napier. Cud. So a loose pass. Turnover again, so Napier with a second bite of the cherry. Jackson got better as the game went on last week. Back there for McIver, who's another player who provides Napier with width as well as Pilcher down those flanks, and he loves to get forward and take on players. Derek Rugg, who's in charge this afternoon. From memory, he was on the panel for the under-17 championships.
Yes, he was, and I believe he's going to be one of the 2 referees that will be refereeing NSL games when the Football Kings play this season.
Ricky Ravenhill. Nice ball with the outside of the foot. A chance there for Pilcher. Cud with some space outside the area. Will he shoot? Lovely footwork. Great looking shot. What a goal, Jimmy Cud. Take a bow, the number 14. That is a moment of inspiration from Jimmy Cud out of midfield, and he cracks one of the goals of the season.
What a magnificent goal. Ross Nicholson, he's having a go at his defence, but I think we should enjoy the skills of Jimmy Cud here. Here's Ravenhill here, looks to slide the ball in the channel. That's a very intelligent ball. Akers makes the run. As it breaks here now, it's just a bit of a wayward clearance. Now watch Cut. Nice first touch. Little bit of skill here. Look at this. Whoop, sends the defender the wrong way. And he's a two-footed player, Jimmy. And he cracks it with his left foot here. Watch this. Dummies Bruce Hill. Bruce Hill's gone for a cup of coffee. Hits it with his left foot. Low and hard. In these conditions, almost impossible for the goalkeeper to stop. That is a superb goal from Jimmy Cut. And he deserves it. He played so well last week as well.
Sensational. You always knew he had a goal like that in him last week, Chris, but didn't quite have the moment. But gee, he found it then, didn't he?
Well, you know, Napier would have been happy if someone had tapped one in from 1 metre out, but that's just a class strike. He's really struck that well. And Nicholson, I feel sorry for Bruce Hill a bit, because in these conditions, when you get somebody sell your little dummy, it's very hard to keep your feet. And Cudd just took advantage of it, just struck it so well.
Well, we watched the Kings last night, and that goal wouldn't have been out of place last night at international level.
Not at all. Look at this. Does a little step over, crack with his left foot. In it goes, low and hard in the corner. Couldn't have hit it better. So now it's going to ask some questions of the central side now.
Certainly is, because we know one thing: the Napier City Rovers can defend very well, and they certainly will, through Taylor and Cotton, organise their defence, you'd think. 1-0 up in a cup final.
Coming against a run of play too, really. Central, to me, had settled better, and it caused a few problems down the flanks, but Napier, first blood to them. They've taken advantage of probably the first genuine chance they've had.
Perhaps another turnover, and was that a foul? No, said the referee. It was right on the spot. The player flying in there was Wayne Atkins. And always relieves pressure on the goalkeeper, seeing on Mark Paston, in fact, not the other goalkeeper, Nicholson, having a goal in the early stages, Chris.
There's no doubt. It will also settle Napier down nicely. There's another great chance here, though. McIver, I think it is, has got round the back. Michael Redenton. You've got to admit, there's a lot of experience in the central side, though. They won't panic. Michael Redenton, he's played at international level for the All Whites and played really, really well. Gareth Rowe at the back there. He was one of the stars of the under-23s. These guys have got plenty of ability. They won't panic. They know they've got the ability to get back in the game.
The thing with Napier now is they can just play their natural game attack. As long as they're tight at the back, they can really try some things. And this man is Mr. Creative, Jimmy Cudd, near post, but poorly taken. And a missed chance. You really need to hit the mark there. Just make the goalkeeper and the defence work for the clearance.
Yeah, be disappointed, because if they could snatch another one now, 2-0 would suddenly become a little bit of a mountain to climb. You'd be, you know, set pieces are just such a big part of the game these days, and something like 40–50% of goals come from them. You've got to take advantage of them.
Mark Paston bombs the ball back to midfield. Good glassing header by Akers. That was intelligent work. He leapt well. McIver's down the left. One player in the middle is Jackson. He waits, and Jackson makes the run now. Lays it back. Chance there for Ravenhill, I think it was. Pilcher with a second bite for Napier. There's an overlapping player. It's Ravenhill now down the right. A floating ball in. A good-looking one too. Akers. McIver. Could this be 2-0? Yes. Napier have struck with great venom in the first half. And it's McIver. Perhaps the double to the Hawke's Bay region here.
David, what a turn-up. I don't think anybody thought Napier would be 2-0 up within the first 15 minutes, but it's another great goal. Look at the quality of this cross. He drills it in. There's a little touch on by Akers, and somebody in the central defence has gone to sleep on the far post, and they've given McIver all the time in the world, but look how he chests the ball down and cracks it off the crossbar. Great work by Akers. One touch, there it goes. Another quality strike. That is a superb strike. Nicholson, no chance. Yeah, they should be happy as well. 2-0, what a great start.
A lot of confidence. He towed it on the half volley, Chris, so he really did hit it very sweetly.
Yeah, he's beat in the last 5 minutes. He's got free down the left a lot, McIver. It's almost like the way central play with two markers and a sweeper. There's a bit of space in behind their wing backs, and it's either Noah Hickey or somebody is not getting back and picking McIver up, and he's been free twice to run at him, and now he's punished them.
Well, it's really added spice to this cup final. A very open start to the match, you'd have to say. Usually it's Dyer and Dower in midfield, but
Poor old Ross Nicholson, I don't think he's touched the ball with his hands, has he? He's had a couple of kicks, and he's just watched two magnificent strikes fly past him.
Jimmy Cudd having a word to Fred de Jong. I don't think it was that complimentary too, by the look of it. Well, perhaps a late and high challenge. Here's Pilcher. Good skills by Scott Pilcher. His last touch just let him down.
I have to say that the three in the middle of the park for Central haven't got a grip here at all. Major and Vuksic and Bruce Hill, they've been dominated so far, and that's a key area, because if there is a weakness in the Central side, I don't know they got some in the middle of the park that's got the passing ability of a Jimmy Cudd. You've got to get the right quality ball into Mark Elric and Fred de Jong, especially as Elric's not particularly quick, and if Fred de Jong touches and gets touches on, Elric won't get on the end of those. He'll want the ball to his feet.
Free kick to Central. Defending player was Marty Akers. Long ball forward. That's a good tactic too with Fred de Jong, a good shielder of the ball. And here's a chance, long range shot. And it came in there from Mark Elric. Wasn't convincingly taken by Mark Paston, but there was no one to steal the rebound.
That's the strength of Mark Elric there. 30 metres out, he strikes a ball as good as what we've seen from Jimmy Cudd before. He didn't quite get on that one. People remember this time last year, he scored a superb goal for the Kings, almost from that same position on this ground.
So Jimmy Cudd's down behind the field in that challenge with Fred de Jong. Play goes on. Here's Ravenhill. And it'll be played out, you'd think, as Jimmy Cudd just writhing in his own half. It's a pretty heavy challenge with Fred de Jong, who certainly doesn't ask for a quarter when he goes in.
Yeah, takes no prisoners, Fred. But Jimmy Cudd, they've got to get him up and running again. Maybe someone should just go and remind him of the quality of his goal and put a bit of spark back into him. Fred won't be too worried about his welfare. He'll be more concerned about how he's going to get his side back in the game. Here's the challenge now. Yeah, that's just a real good two players going for the ball. And I think the injury occurred actually as he landed. I think Fred won the ball, Cudd went over the top and just landed awkwardly. He's probably hurt his shoulder or his neck, somewhere around there.
Some ice on the back of his neck. Might just be a temporary piece of attention for Jimmy Cudd. What a great goal. Certainly one that will live in his memory, and certainly the memories of the Napier City Rovers supporters here at North Harbour Stadium, and all the fans watching throughout New Zealand on Sky. Well, we may be in for a very high-scoring affair here, Chris. It's got the makings of it.
Well, it's a very interesting time now, because clearly Central just cannot afford to let Napier score again. And I think the key thing for Central is they've just got to be patient. There's plenty of time to get back in the game. 2-0's a good lead, but if they pull one back, suddenly it's all on again. If I was Central, I'd just be saying, hey, let's treat it like it's 0-0 and start again. But I do believe they've got to get themselves sorted out the back before they worry about getting things done up front.
Vuksic tries to lift the ball to space Elric, but he's not a quick player, and you really need, as you mentioned before, just to hit the ball with precision to the two front runners, because they're not breakaway type strikers, are they?
Not at all. And Elric came off short then to receive the ball, and Vuksic knocked it over his head. As I say, no, Major, Vuksic, Hill, none of them is a real playmaker type player as such. Major's got a lot of skill, but it's just a case today of somebody like Jimmy Cudd getting their foot on the ball and just knocking simple 10-yard balls into the striker's feet. Exactly like Napier just done there.
Atkins and Jackson combine. Akers caught flat-footed, and a chance for Central to build at midfield. And that was a poor ball into Fred de Jong, who's not happy with the service so far. And the thing about the Central attacking zone is that they won't get any favours from a rock-solid Napier defence, who were outstanding last week. In particular, Perry Cotton and Jonathan Taylor who both defends well, is strong in the air, and he likes to get forward as well.
Yes, they do. And I mean, they must be sitting there rubbing their hands at the moment, saying they've got the cushion of a 2-0 lead, and they'll thrive on that. And Cotton and Taylor, they'll be winding Fred up a little bit, perhaps reminding him quietly what the score is. And you've got to say, what a great start. You know, after their performance last week, to play extra time, to come up here and be 2-0 up after 15 minutes in the cup final, you know, all credit to the side. They've got a lot of resilience.
Jimmy Cudd, nice floating ball, almost accommodating Chris Jackson, who applauds the service from his midfielder. Well, they're playing with confidence. There's no question about that. Elric just couldn't get the pace and momentum to outrun Jonathan Taylor there. Cudd. Good contest in midfield, comes up with the ball. Great skill. Turns two players inside out. Great effort, Jimmy Cudd. Akers lays it off to Ravenhill. Nice one-touch play, just came unstuck there. Was bombed forward once again. De Jong having to come very deep. Here's Atkins, player wider as McIver. Atkins still going, and that's a free kick. Perhaps, yes, on the edge of the area. I thought for a second he may have played it against the player for diving.
Yeah, more good football by Napier, though. To me, they played better already today than they did last week. And I love seeing this. Somebody really attacking the defence. He's blown past one. Noah Hickey clips him just outside the penalty area. This is another dangerous situation. And I'm sure Jimmy Cudd will fancy his chances. If he hit the first one with his left foot, watch for him to hit one with his right foot here. There's another great opportunity for Napier.
Miro Major is his opposite number in the effect that of being an attacking midfielder, but he's had nothing like the influence this man has had on the match, Jimmy Cudd. So three-man wall, near post ball, and there's blue shirts mustering in numbers. McIver. They're really confident at the moment, Napier. Cudd. He's a likely customer, tries to get to the byline. And that's a free kick to Napier, so they're certainly getting the better of the whistle at the moment as well. Quickly taken, floating one, Akers leaps high.
It was another little half chance. I can't agree with the free kick. I think Derek Rugg might have got that one wrong, but Jimmy Cudd didn't worry about it. Knocked in a really early ball, caught the central defence a little bit asleep, and Akers was nearly on the end of that. A bit like Fred de Jong, Martin Akers, he just thrives on those crosses.
Good run this, and here's Miro Major. Nice piece of skill as well. De Jong holds it up, looking for the support. Ilovic. But look at that defence, a blue wall coming forward with numbers and strength. And they've got good understanding as well.
First time we've really seen Miro Major show the silky skills that we know we've got. Nice little skills there. Rolled the ball into Fred de Jong. And Matthew Ilovic here, he just showed too much of it. His first touch wasn't what it should have been. And he'll be disappointed that Matthew Ilovic is a very, very good player. He's had a little spell over in Australia. Obviously, his brother Paul's been playing for the Melbourne Knights and now come back to play for the Kings. And Ilovic will be pretty keen to impress.
McIver. Atkins. Cudd. Look at the space Napier are given in midfield. Certainly, Central will have to tighten up in that area in the second half. Or in what's remaining of the first, at least. Elric concedes back to Nicholson. It's very disorganised, isn't it? Midfield, Chris.
Yeah, the central midfield's the problem for Central for me. They just haven't got a grip on this game at all. Napier have dominated in there, and it's allowed Pilcher and especially McIver in the last quarter of an hour to dominate on the flanks as well. Where we thought that perhaps it would be Hickey and Ilovic that would be standing out there, that hasn't been the case at all.
Well, Fred de Jong mentioned last night if Central were to win this match, they have to get on top of the flanks, and you mentioned that hasn't happened, and it's reflecting very well on the scoreline for Napier. Ball bomb forward there, and a deep one from Mark Elric. Chance here for Central. The player Atkins was caught flat-footed and off balance. Here's opposite number 4 doing the work there in Noah Hickey.
He's done well, Atkins, there, because it was actually an excellent ball by Elric. He's a very good technician. He just drilled it out to the flank. Atkins brought it down on his chest and then stumbled. And Noah Hickey is so quick, and he was just a touch away there from having a direct run in on goal.
Mark Elric, who's the cousin of Adrian, a former All-White, 1982 World Cup player for New Zealand.
Yeah, people may remember Adrian Elric's strike in that World Cup qualifiers against Indonesia at Mount Smart Stadium, as it used to be, where he blazed one in from 25 metres. And I think Jimmy Cudd's effort today is would rank just about alongside that sort of strike.
Looks like Marty Akers down on the ground, the Napier captain. He's a pretty tough customer, so he certainly would have felt that knock. The challenge came in there from Gareth Rowe. Momentarily looks like he could be a spin bowler for India. He's coming off the pitch for some attention.
With a Bishop Beatty.
Some off-cutters. But he's a very tough customer, Marty Akers.
He'll be back on. He's had a career of getting belted like that. He'll, there's no doubt he'll be back on in no time.
Took him about 5 seconds and he's back on the pitch. So at the half-hour mark, it's Central 0, Napier 2 here at North Harbour Stadium in this Chatham Cup final. Napier going for the double. They last achieved that in 1993. And it's balls like that from midfield that are not helping Central's cause at all.
That's the problem. Yeah, time and time again from Central, the three midfielders, that all they got to do is just knock a 10-yard ball into De Jon's or Elric's feet, and the quality of the passing is just not good enough.
Akers loves the nick on, doesn't he?
He's done well. He's won just about everything in the air so far.
And that was the tactic. I don't want to wind the clock back, but speaking to Steve Sumner, that was a great tactic of the All Whites, that 82 All White team. Long ball in, nick back, and players running off that, including a young Winton Roofer. It was very much a good New Zealand style of play.
Yes, it was, although Steve Wooden, and what a class player Steve Wooden was. I don't think Steve was too keen with the ball knocked up in the air. I think he wanted on that left foot all the time. But people like Grant Turner, Brian Turner, they were very effective at getting on the end of things in the end. And who will forget, David, being a good Australian, that goal of Grant Turner's at the in Sydney when we dumped you 2-0.
It was a pretty reasonable goal, wasn't it?
So was the other one that Steve Wooden scored.
That's just quietly. And you mentioned Adrian Elric's goal, so there's been some a lot of rich history in New Zealand football. And this is where it all starts for some players in the domestic competition, and a pretty big carrot for the league championship, chance for the Oceania representative for the World Club Championships, and Napier have that honour. They'll play the winner of, well, when I say the winner of, that's notwithstanding the island nations, the winner of Wollongong and the National League champion of this year in Australia, as Elric makes a good diagonal run in front of Taylor. He's caught deep in the area. Julovic cuts back to the byline. Good deep ball in, but well defended. Atkins comes out strongly. They really have a classy defence, don't they, Chris?
They do. It's good play by Mark Elric. He did well to not panic and get in a good cross. But this Napier defence is very, very well organised. And guys like Atkins, who was an unsung hero last week, they compete and defend very well, especially around their own penalty area. Very difficult to break down.
Well, they were used to playing on perfect pitches at Park Island, the Napier City Rovers, so they wouldn't see conditions like this all that often. I know it gets its fair share of rain, but perhaps the best surfaces in the whole of New Zealand, in that region. Great
ground for football, Park Island. Always a good surface, and they get superb support. The city down there always supports them. They get good crowds, and it's actually very good to play there. Even as a visiting team, you really look forward to playing at Napier, not the least because Napier are a footballing side. They also always try and play football.
Flag stays down for Jimmy Cudd, and he just didn't quite have the ping. I think that knock may have taken the sting out of him, but it was a good ball in. Now he's offside, clearly. Well, the flag was up.
It was a pass back there. It wasn't a Central player. Knocked it back, I think.
confusing for the players who momentarily stopped.
Yeah, I think the linesman put his flag up because Jimmy Cudd's in offside position, but I think the ball was actually inadvertently passed back by a central player. Derek Rugg got it spot on.
Well, Derek Rugg looked to his linesman, overruled the flag up, so a free kick here for Napier. And the free kick man is Jimmy Cudd. It's a fair range, heavy conditions, Chris, so perhaps some rehearsed plays and training will take part here.
Yes, good shooting chances. He'll look to bend it over the wall with pace.
Cudd doesn't quite get hold of it.
He'll be disappointed with that.
Bombed out there by Noah Hickey. But look at the last man, Ravenhill's done well. Elric, who's very good technically. Loves getting it wide. De Jong makes the run through the middle, but he really has been short of his best today so far. Fred de Jong perhaps hasn't had the ball where he wants it from the midfield, and that's the important fact to remember. Cotton, former All-White. Here's Ravenhill. Chance for Akers, holds it up well. Pilcher's out wide. Just content to play the ball to feet. Here's Akers, very attractive run. Flag stays down, chance here. Second goal, yes. The goal has been scored by Ricky Ravenhill, the number 6 for Napier, and really has put the decision, you would think, beyond doubt. It would have to be a miracle for Central to get back in this cup final.
What another good goal, though. The quality of the goal. Marty Akers does absolutely brilliantly. Takes on the defence, and look at the reverse ball. Superbly slotted in, and doesn't Ravenhill keep his cool. He just looks up, rolls it past Nicholson. He's got no chance again. Another perfect finish. I'd be questioning my defence too if I was Nicholson. Akers has done brilliantly here. That is just a really superb ball. Nobody's picked Ravenhill up. He's broken Ravenhill. He's broken from the middle of the park. Somebody's going to have some questions asked of them. 3-0. What a scoreline, and you can't argue with it. Napier, even prior to that goal, David, some of the build-up play was excellent. They put 4 or 5 good passes together, got the ball into Akers, and he was too big, too strong, caused the problems, and another good finish.
Look at that scoreline. It may not be over yet. And here's McIver. Could this be his second? Well, he hits the ground. It was a fair shot on the end. And I think it's got all the markings for party time for Napier.
Yeah, don't rule Central out, though. They've got the ability to get back into it, but Napier are dominating. And I must say that if the Central coaches, there's some questions got to be asked about the quality of the tracking, because some of the marking and some of the ball watching in the midfield and the back has been very, very poor.
It's been a lot of chasing of blue shirts. McIver, who's been outstanding on that left-hand flank. Good defensive run, though. Tracking him was Noah Hickey. McIver's not slow, but Hickey just made up 5 metres on him. Just shows the pace of Noah Hickey. They need him going the other way. That's the problem.
Well, it just shows you what confidence can do in football. I just thought Napier would have Central would have too much for this Napier side, but Napier have just built on the confidence from that Jimmy Cudd strike. I think that set them alight, and since then they really deserve to be 3 goals up.
Elric. Here's De Jong. Good run by Major in the middle. Was he taken down? Referee right on the spot. We went to ground. I think there was some contact, but the replay will be very interesting.
Yeah, good refereeing for me. I don't think that was a penalty kick. Nice ball in from De Jong. Major made a good run, but there wasn't enough there for me for a penalty.
De Jong muscled off the ball by Cudd, who comes up with it. Look at him outpace, and that is a professional foul, perhaps a card, you would think. Yellow on Noah Hickey. And that's perhaps a challenge of frustration, Chris.
Yeah, and probably a challenge had to be done because Cudd was bearing in on goal again. It'll be interesting. Jimmy Cudd has been one of the standout players so far. Interesting if he can last the distance and keep dominating. He has. Again, he does well. Uses the conditions to his advantage here. Takes on the defender. Noah Hickey blatantly brings him down. No argument with the yellow card.
Cotton. Atkins is the number 4 for Napier. They have a wall at the back that's almost impenetrable. The Rovers, Jackson has got some nice touches, lacks a bit of pace, but certainly confident on the ball. And it's cleared out by the captain, Michael Redenton. And he'd be really thinking what's happening at the back for Central United. Coached or co-coached by Ricky Herbert, one of the other stars of 1982 for the All Whites. Floated into the box, and a chance for a fourth perhaps. Into the area, mistake, and Nicholson scrambles. The shot came in from their number 8, Scott Pilcher.
But again, they're caught out with that long ball into the penalty box. Akers challenges, and again, the flank man is totally unmarked. And you, somewhere on the line, you've got to look at this, the structure of this central defence, because either Erlevic or Hickey are not picking up. Look how much space he's got. Drills it across. Horrendous miss kick there by Michael Redenton. He's very, very grateful and happy to see Nicholson dive on that one.
So some injuries too for Central. Jason New coming off the park. Ex-Napier play. He's played in 11 finals. But you sense he won't be lifting the trophy this afternoon. And as is the tradition of football, just played back to the goalkeeper. And I think it's a nice one that stayed in the game, Chris.
Yeah, it is great. I mean, when you're on the field, you give 100% and give nothing away. But it's a great touch that's come in where if somebody gets injured in the other team, you kick it out and they give it back to you. And I think it was only that famous incident with Arsenal, wasn't it, where they took off and put the ball in the net that sort of spoiled it a bit. But I think everybody's got over that, and it is. It's great for the game.
So approaching half-time, and it's all Napier City Rovers. Ravenhill, Gilbertson, Cudd are so confident, just knocking the ball around with one touch. Long ball in by Gilbertson, fell short. Ravenhill with a second bite. Lovely switch of play down the left. Atkins, look at the blue shirts muster in the area. Atkins bobs up. Ravenhill, who took his goal so well. Erlevic, his brother Paul plays for the Kings, and a slip there assisted Elric, who in turn lost his footing. So very greasy conditions underfoot for the players.
It's a very dispirited Central side to me at the moment. Napier are just dominating this. Their midfield's really got a grip on it. They're knocking it round. And at this stage, you can't see Central getting back in the game. I think if the coaches of Central, I'm sure at half-time, have got to look at some tactical changes here. Whether it means that they go to a back four and push forward, because clearly they need a goal. And clearly they're not even defending very well as it is.
Good shot of what lays ahead for Mark Paston. Floats the ball into Central's half. Cut. And that was a free kick, and another yellow card will be produced on Fred de Jong. And all smiles, Fred de Jong. I think he knew it was coming. It was a frustrating challenge by the former All-White and Kings Marconi star. Challenge from behind. Yeah, well, that's just not on, is it?
Yeah, he's walked a fine line during the half, and he won't argue with that too much. Tackle from behind, he's deck cut. You wouldn't argue with that yellow card either.
I think Jimmy Cutt's been a little bit unlucky being on the end of a couple of de Jong challenges. Lovely floating ball in from Jackson. Just made the defence aware from Central.
You can see the difference, though, David, where Central in that attacking third have just knocked in such good quality ball into their strikers' feet. There was a lovely little ball in the channel. Jackson actually did well. He's a bit unlucky that he floated the cross behind the goal.
Atkins. Akers, who's done a lot of that bullocking work up front. Lovely back heel to his defender. They're playing with flair now, Napier. Really giving Central a football lesson in the first half here at North Harbour Stadium. Taylor. Missed his mark in Jackson. Elric, hint of handball, but Bob's up with it. De Jong. Julovic. But they're flat-footed when they get the ball wide. There's no real momentum out of midfield for Central, just trying to generate their own pace and rhythm. There's a rare Central free kick.
They'll be looking for something just before half-time too. They badly need something to get their confidence up. We've got to get this into the box, get the big boys, Gareth Rowe, Fred de Jong arriving on the end of this.
Miro Major will take the free kick. A long-range one. Can they get something moving? De Jong, centering header, but well defended there by Napier. Here's Cut. He'll switch direction. McIver makes an attractive run down the left. The player in the middle is Akers. McIver holds it up, waits for blue shirts to muster. Taylor. And it's been an all-round performance by Napier in the first half. Their midfield's been effective. The defenders have got forward and tracked back when needed. And Akers has been the shielder up front. Just palming off for his more nippy midfielders, like your Jimmy Cudds and so forth. And what's good about Napier is they just layer eyes at the back. is they've got some pace as well, which is always good to see. Defenders prepared to get forward with some pace. Gilbertson. Akers is very strong in the air. Julovic is out wide, but more central is Fred de Jong. Lovely ball in, and a chance here for Central. One-on-one with the goalkeeper. Lovely save from Mark Paston, with a shot coming in from Bruce Hill, and just palmed it over the crossbar.
Central's best footballer of the half, and again it just came from some simple passing, and Bruce Hill made an excellent run. Fred de Jong puts him through. It's a good little effort that he tries to dink the goalkeeper, and Mark Paston, he did very well. He kept his shape, up he goes, he got a hand to it. That's an excellent save, good save.
Major to the back post. Ravenhill failed to clear it effectively. It's in the area, and a moment of panic at the back there for Napier. They certainly wouldn't want to concede a goal close to half-time. And that is the half-time whistle blown by referee Derek Rugg. And it's been a half completely dominated by Napier. Goals to Jimmy Cudd in the 14th minute. Chris McIver scored 19 minutes in. And Ricky Ravenhill, 39-minute strike. Just rolling it past the goalkeeper, and they would be cock-a-hoop with their performance in the first half. They're staring well and truly at the double here, Chris.
And fully deserve it as well. The half's been lit up for me by the quality of the strikes. And as again, if we look at the stats, with total shots on goal 3, that basically the 3 shots that Napier have got on target have hit the back of the net. The key thing for me has just been the quality of those strikes, David. Jimmy Cudd set them alight, really, because Napier, I think Central had been on top until then, and then Jimmy Cudd hit a superb strike to put them 1-0 up. Then, of course, McIver got that excellent strike when he took it on his chest and rifled it in off the crossbar. And Ravenhill, after great work by Akers, slid it into the corner. And I can't see at the moment a way back for Central. They look very, very dispirited. I think there's got to be a tactical change, if not a personnel change.
Well, the first half completely dominated by Napier, and it's been a quality Chatham Cup final here at North Harbour Stadium. The stats going with the Napier City Rovers, and we'll be back to North Harbour after this short break on Sky.
It's not. Chris Turner live on our Footballing Saturday here on Sky Sport.
Welcome back to the second half here at North Harbour Stadium. And as we kick off, we can notice that Central, who clearly have to do something to get back into this game, have made a couple of changes. Stephen Mack, number 10, is on. He's an out-and-out striker, so clearly the intention's there. Central have to score. Some good work down the left already, and here's an early chance. An early chance for the Central side. And also number 12, Brian Hawke's on the park, and he's a good player as well, another attacking player. So Paul Poser and Ricky Herbert have showed their intentions here. Good play immediately by Brian Hawke, beats the defence, and that's a superb cross. Beats the front man. It's a flying header there, but disappointing he didn't get it on target. Looks like the former All White Mark Elric has left the park, and that's a bit of a surprise for me, unless he's got an injury. I thought, yeah, they might bring Stephen Mack on, but I thought they might drop Mark Elric back in the middle of the park and try and solve some of the problems they've got with the quality of their passing.
Well, Chris, it'll be interesting to see if they change their system. As a player caught offside there was Stephen Mack, who's come on for the second half. Well, will they try to squeeze Napier in midfield, do you think?
Well, I think they're going to go 3 up front. I suspect we'll see Fred de Jong obviously leading the line, with probably Brian Hawke on one side and Stephen Mack on the other. So they'll go 3 up front. I'm sure they'll continue to play 3 in the midfield for a start. But again, if they can't score in the first 15, 20 minutes, they might have to look at going man on man at the back and taking some risks.
Mark Paston. Akers was very strong in that first half, just shielding the ball. Here's de Jong. Chance there for the number 12, Brian Hawke. Taylor plays the long ball forward. So Hawke on the park in the second half. A couple of changes for Central. Nicked on and a foot race. But look at the blue shirts get back very quickly. Perry Cotton and Gilbertson, they combine so well at the back. So a couple of changes there, Chris.
Yeah, it looks like the 2 players gone off, Mark Elric and Major. Young Major's a good player, he just wasn't his day. He couldn't get into it today. Surprised at Elric. I thought they might have dropped him in the middle of the park, but clearly going to go with the 3 up front. Napier fully deserving this lead. If Central can't score in the first 15, 20 minutes, then you'd have to say Napier be odds on. But people remember the NSL final last year, Perth-Wollongong. 3-0 up with Perth at half-time and looked all over, and Wollongong came back to draw 3-3 and win it on penalties. Here's a chance down the right for Stephen Mack.
So Mack gets into the scoring area. Atkins comes out, as does the goalkeeper, Mark Paston. And that's a goal kick. They just worried him out of the contest there as he cut to the byline.
Good play by Stephen Mack here, shows his pace. Take on Atkins, straight for goal. Just took that a little bit too far, but that's good signs by Mack. He's really an out-and-out goal scorer. He might not be the cleverest player in the world, but he knows where the back of the net is. And I tell you what, if ever Central need a goal, they need one now.
Oh, it's funny what a goal does. If it's a 3-1, there's always a chance. And I think Napier would know that. So they'd be looking to shut the door in the second half. And a good ball in. Chance here for Central. And the shot came in there from Brian Hawke. So the substitutes are playing their part in the second half for Central United.
And they've already shown some enthusiasm with both Mack and Hawke here, making some good breaks. Hawke's made a good run here. Again, he's just drifted wide, forced wide, tries to bend it back, and it was a good effort. But Napier will know that if they defend well and around their penalty box, the game is theirs. And of course, with Central pushing forward, it'll always leave them open to be caught on the break. And especially with Jimmy Card capable of hitting balls like he's just hit there, Central have got to be always worried about getting done on that break.
Akers was away. And you'd have to say that Jackson and Akers haven't been enormous influences on the match. Akers has been useful. Jackson has been quiet, but I think it's just their outstanding service from midfield. They're an interesting side, aren't they, Napier, the way they play?
They are. The interesting thing for me as well is that I can't remember Ross Nicholson making a save, and yet he's had 3 fly past him in the back of the net, and you couldn't blame him for any of them. They were all superbly taken.
Ball played down the line. And a chance here for Noah Hickey in the centre. Chance and a goal! That's one peg back for Central United, coming in the form of Stephen Mack. Lovely near post ball played in by Noah Hickey. And Mack had the class just to slot the ball away.
He's a goal scorer, there's no doubt. He's got a nose for goals, and it's the first time we've seen Noah Hickey get some pace on the right. That's a great ball over the top. I think it's MacGyver's caught ball watching. Hickey, first touch was superb. This is class. He's just rolled it in the near post. Mack has arrived on the near post. What you do in that situation as a striker, you're just looking to get that half a yard in front of your defender. Mack's done that. Watch Hickey here. Nice first touch. Looks up and whips it in early, and Stephen Mack slides in the near post. It's exactly what Central needed.
There's the goal scorer, Stephen Mack. And a real pep in their step in the second half. There would have been some fairly harsh words from the coaching staff of Central United. Ricky Herbert would have been less than impressed for the first 45 minutes. Napier wouldn't want to lose too much concentration here, Chris.
Now they've got a little bit, it's always interesting when you're like 3-1 up now. Do you look to push forward and get another one, or do you defend? To me, you don't look to take any risk, but I think you continue to play. Make sure that you're solid and safe at the back. But Napier have played so well that there's no reason for the panic at all. Even at 3-1, it's still a huge way back for Central. At the moment, Napier have clearly got one hand, if not 1.5 on the cup.
Cut out of midfield, and there's a free kick to Napier. Derek Rugg has had a good game with a whistle this afternoon on the panel for the National League as Pilcher fouled by his opposite, number 8. In Vuksic for Central. Taylor lifts the space. Awkward one there for the defence. And Dion coming to midfield for some involvement. Atkins is playing at the back with Perry Cotton and Jonathan Taylor. Carter just can't trap the ball with that one touch. And, well, it threatened to rain for the match, but the gods have smiled on this Chatham Cup final. It's been rainless so far, if that's such a word. Mark Paston. And you'd have to say, Chris, 4 very well taken goals. At this level of football, they wouldn't look out of place at a much higher level.
Not at all. The quality of the finishing has been excellent, and different types of strikes as well. I mean, Jimmy Cup drilling one from 30-odd metres, MacGyver taking it on his chest and volleying from an acute angle. You know, that last one, for instance, from Central was real quality when Hickey went down the flank, and I like the way he got his head up early and rolled it in, and Stephen Mack did what all good strikers do. He got in front of his defender, planted in the back of the net.
Flag was up clearly there on De Jong.
Be interested to see when Napier used their substitutes as well, David. I mean, they had extra time last week and they died in extra time against University of Mount Wellington. In some ways hung on for penalty kicks. Just wonder in the next 15 minutes or so if we won't see the coaches, Charlie Howe and Mick Wade, injecting some fresh legs to keep the momentum going.
Both coaches off the bench, Charlie Howe and Mick Wade. Next 10 minutes will be very interesting to see if Central can continue this momentum. There's the coaching staff of Central, Ricky Herbert. Taylor. Akers traps it well, but just runs out of room. Martin Akers is a real workhorse up front for Napier. Ravenhill, who scored in the first half, as did this man, Jimmy Carter. Gilbertson drives it in low for Jackson. Pilcher, and that was a foul, clearly. Almost a professional one, and I think it's seen as such by the referee. Julovic will be booked here.
It's a fair decision as well. I agree with Derek Rugg over that as well, because Pilcher had done Julovic and he got wrong side. And watch here, he's done him for pace, and Julovic's just pulled and grabbed and stopped him, and he had a good run down the flank. He deserves a yellow card for that. I think 3 yellow cards all have gone against Central players.
All with professional type fouls. Here's Pilcher. Lovely ball in behind the defence for Cudd. Around 1, floats the ball in. Goal here. No, it's missed there by MacGyver, who eyed off his second goal. Completely unmarked in the box. And that was very lax marking at the back by Central.
Oh, this is great play by Cudd. He just glides past his man here. Look at that. He's ex-booked it for dead. Clips in with his left foot, a superb ball. And MacGyver, oh, he's got to score from there. What you do in those situations is you must get behind it and head the ball, not flick it. And what he's done is he's flicked it past the post.
Great work there by Scott Pilcher. And you're right, you just need to hit the target, don't you? It's as simple as that.
Yeah, you tell young players, don't flick it. You've got to get behind and hit it. And if he'd got up and just headed it, he had to score. And I just wonder whether that will come back to haunt them a little bit, because that's game over.
Well, 4-1 is game over, Chris, you're right. And now the door just remains slightly ajar for Central.
Wasn't a good work by Cud, though.
Superb, he just gets around players so easily. You just sense he could play at a high level.
Yeah, conditions today have helped him as well. When it's a little bit slippery like it is, he's got that technical ability, and he can just drop his shoulder and go another way, and it's very hard to defend against. And I like the fact that he's two-footed.
The fouls committed, 5 apiece. So even Stevens on that stat.
Bet Central wish that was the score.
Yeah, well, a very exciting contest if it was, but at 3-1 it's had its share of excitement here. This Chatham Cup final. I'm sure you're enjoying all the action on Sky. Here's Card at midfield. And he's taken down, and that is a yellow card, second yellow. So a red card for Fred de Jong. The veteran striker off the park, and Central reduced to 10 men. And that may be very significant in the final outcome of this Chatham Cup final.
I can't agree with this at all. I think Derek Ruggs had a good game, but I do believe to send a player from the field, if they deserve it, no problem. Fred's fouled him. There's no doubt he's fouled him, but Jimmy Cudd had just glided past him, and Fred caught him accidentally. There was nothing malicious. Look at this. Cudd's just, to me, he's just glided past him. De Jong's just run into the back of his heels. There's nothing malicious in that. That's just a free kick and play on. He sent the player off, and that's going to change the game. Central now really have got a huge hole. Dug themselves a huge hole. Derek Rugg, you've over-racked in the air, and to be honest, it's probably won the game for Napier.
The openings appear very early. Here's Pilcher trying to get into scoring range. But Redenton for Central was very strong in defence. And they'll have to reorganise here, Central United. Perhaps they'll sit some players behind the ball now.
Very difficult situation for them. Clearly, they've still got to score goals, so they've got to leave Mack and Brian Hawke up front. And I suspect very soon they're going to have to go man-on-man at the back. Take some risks. I mean, it doesn't really matter in a cup final whether you lose 6-1 or 4-1. You don't win the cup. So just about time to go man-on-man at the back. But 10 men on this pitch, Napier, and they fully deserve to be in the position when they're at, really in the box seat here. And they'll play possession football and frustrate Central as much as they can.
Atkins tries to play to the feet of Chris Jackson. Cotton certainly hasn't been as dominant as he was last week, but been a different sort of match for him. Back for Atkins. Jackson. 50-50 ball. One here for Central. And that's a throw to Stephen Mack, or at least Central United. So they've gained 10 metres or so. Mack and Hawke have certainly been influential for United in the second half, coming off the bench. Here's Gilbertson for Napier. And doesn't Jimmy Cudd cover some territory? Lovely diagonal ball.
That's another great ball out to the flanks.
Jackson can run it to the defender. Gets around one, but his last touch just exposed too much of the ball. Hawke earns the free for Central United. And they're just on the cusp of victory here, Napier. They could really shut the gate with another goal. All in all, it's been a very entertaining cup final, hasn't it, Chris?
It's been a very, very entertaining game with a lot of quality, not just in the finishing, but some of the players being very, very good. We just can't underestimate the effect the sending off has had. The 3 previous bookings, David, I agree with a lot, because players deliberately had pulled people down or fouled them, but that second yellow card that Fred de Jong gets sent off for was just, to me, just an accidental collision. If you're going to send players off for that, there'll be a few more going before this game's finished.
Ravenhill changes direction. Here's Gilbertson. Back to the goal scorer at Ravenhill, Jimmy Cudd, who also has worried the goal scoring sheet tonight. And late this afternoon, the lights are on here at North Harbour. The rain has stayed away. Mark Paston hasn't had that much to do in front of goal. He saw a Stephen Mack 51st minute strike whiz past the near post. And that certainly was a wake-up call. And here's United from the back. Noah Hickey is their number 4. Had a very useful first half. Hawk. Mack was dispossessed. And covering some territory is Jimmy Cudd. He really is a will-o'-the-wisp. He's there 1 minute, gone the next, and Bob's up in defence. Good ball in for Ravenhill. Search for Akers there. And we'll have to be careful with the defender. There's a free kick there. A foul committed on the 21, Gareth Rowe.
It'll be interesting for Napier. It's often difficult playing 10 men. They always lift themselves and rise to the occasion. The key really is when you get the ball to keep possession and use your spare man and look to use the flanks. And I'm sure if they can get the ball out to MacGyver and to Pilcher, they'll get their rewards. Central, on the other hand, they've got no choice but to put men forward. They're still playing a sweep, and I think they're going to have to take a gamble. 2 goals down with 10 men. They're going to have to throw some men forward, go one-on-one at the back.
Tame header coming in from Stephen Mack, but he's getting involved, and that's the most important thing. In the second half, he's been very lively, and he's just added something to Central. So a throw in on the main grandstand side. And here's Mack once again. Traps it well. The number 6 is Bruce Hill, who had that chance just before half-time to peg one back. Good attractive ball in for Mack. In fact, the player was Hawk, just floating and ghosting into the box. And I think what the 10 and the 12 have done in Mack and Hawk has just added a bit of mobility to the attacking third, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. They've given it another dimension, because Fred de Jong's obviously a very, very good target man, and Mark Eric likes the ball to his feet. Both Hawk and Mack are quicker and got more mobility. And Stephen Mack especially is just a goal poacher. Anything that floats in and around that penalty box, he'll be on the end of it.
Ross Nicholson comes well out, drives it into Brian Hawke. Here's Hill. Good piece of work down that right-hand flank. Takes on Cudd. And that's a corner, a well-fashioned one in the end by Bruce Hill. And that's the sort of thing they must do, just tighten the screws and put the pressure on the Napier defence to see if there's any cracks appear.
Yeah, it's their best opportunity for me for Central is attacking like Bruce has done down the flanks. I don't think they've got the creativity in the middle of the park or have somebody with Jimmy Cudd's passing ability. They've got to get Hickey and Erlovic getting down the flanks and getting in crosses for the strikers to arrive on the end of.
Erlovic dips the ball in, and rushing into that near post area was Brian Hawke. The appeal was for the corner, but the linesman is pretty firm. A goal kick to Napier. It was a good shot of the North Harbour Stadium. The lights are on. Really is a magnificent stadium for the World Game. It was full in last year's under-17 World Cup final between Australia and Brazil, and it was a great moment for New Zealand football.
Yeah, it is a magnificent stadium, and what a spectacle that was. Absolutely humming, and the Australian team, you know, in the Under-17 World Championship final, put up a tremendous effort, and to go down on penalties to Brazil was a great effort.
Well, Bruce Hill's really beginning to get involved in the middle.
That's that little problem again, though. He did so well, and then the quality of the pass didn't match the earlier efforts that he put in.
So 65 minutes in at Central 1, Napier 3. Jackson, lovely turn. Just then dispossessed by the captain, Redenton, for Central. Hill. They're just getting it out wide now. Julovic has been a good player for Central. Lovely ball in behind the defence. Mack tries to get around the goalkeeper. And it was a very attractive run by Stephen Mack. Good just showed his pace.
Good goalkeeping by Mark Paston as well. This is a very, very high-quality ball by Julovic. Whips it in the channel, in behind Jonathan Taylor, and Mack would have got on the end of that and would have been on goal. And Mark Paston read it very early, bravely down at the striker's feet.
Mark Paston has a good understanding with the back three. Good challenge there. Hawke on McIver, who scored a good volley in the first half. Perry Cotton combines well with this man, Jonathan Taylor. Atkins. McIver gets forward. Jackson threads his way between two. McIver's got the pace. Two players in the middle. Chance for Akers. And he lets fly, but doesn't get hold of it. Well, the intention was there, but the final touch wasn't.
Yeah, good build-up play. Jackson did well, had the confidence to try and turn in a tight area against the defence. McIver took over and cut it back, and Martin Akers, look at this here, he's cut it back. That is an excellent cutback. Martin Akers, what do you say when you've been taught with about 5 years old? You've got to get your knee over the ball. The golden rule then is you must hit the target. Make the goalkeeper make a save at the worst.
Shots on target. Well, Napier have made Central pay. Converted 3 of 5. Central 1 of 4. Some South American flair with the whistles being heard from the crowd. Pilcher makes that run down the right.
I think the whistles made in Napier today, though, David.
Oh, the fans have had a lot to cheer about the last couple of weeks. Their Dower Championship win over University Mount Wellington, 4-2 on penalties after 2 sections of extra time. So it was a war of attrition, really, in the end. And they've come up bright as a button here this afternoon, Napier, to score 3 goals in the first half. Central have looked a lot more impressive in the second. Can the Rovers shut the gate? Akers, the captain. In the midfield, it's Mack. Joining in McIver. Good defensive work, lifts the ball, and the flag is up on Jackson. Akers wasn't so sure about that decision.
Yeah, very tight decision that. There wouldn't be a lot at all. One other and very impressive thing about the Napier side is their work rate. They just work so hard. They clearly have got a good spirit. They all work for each other. And this defensive unit is so hard to break down. And Perry Cotton and Jonathan Taylor at the back, again, as is last week, have just been excellent.
Well, we just sense the stingers out of Central's tail at the moment anyway. Ball lifted down the right for Ravenhill. Here's Jackson operating more in midfield now. Takes on 2 players and gets around them. He's a deceptive player. The ball was forced out in the end, but look, when you think he's slow, he just adds another gear, and I think he's just one of these laconic type laid-back players that really not that easy to defend against.
It's quite frustrating. He doesn't seem to do a lot for 15 minutes, and then suddenly he just does something that just threatens to unlock the defence. He's obviously got a good technique. I do think he just lacks a bit of pace to maybe get himself to the next level.
Julovic with a chance down the left, but bomb forward there by the 7, Gilbertson. And there's what's in front of Ross Nicholson, who's the all-white goalkeeper, but can't find a contract with the Kings, and Chris Marsh did very well last night against Chile, so it'll be very difficult for him. Julovic does well. So Ernst Central will throw down that left-hand side. The brother of the Kings striker Paul, who had a stint with the Melbourne Knights. And here's Napier breaking down the right. Akers with a good ball in the middle. Jackson stays onside. Cuts it back to his captain. McIver's in the box. Long-range shot, and that was pretty well done. It was more across in the end because he saw McIver floating in at the back post, and I don't think McIver had the awareness that Akers was necessarily looking for there, Chris.
You know, I think Martin Akers, to me, is shooting here. I don't think he's looking for McIver. He's shooting, and I think that was McIver's problem. He thought he was shooting as well. If as soon as the shot had struck McIver had been on the move, I think he would have had a tap in on the far post. How often do you see that?
Akers has come up with the ball again. Here's Cotton getting forward. They're all joining in now for Napier. Square ball. Akers outside the area. Hits the post. And a chance for Jackson. Goal. No, offside flag was up on the number 11, Paul Jackson. Well, it was a good shot from range by the captain, Michael Akers. Had the goalkeeper beaten, but denied by the upright.
Ross Nicholson, I don't think he moved. Martin Akers having shooting practice at the moment, struck it really well, came back off the upright. Jackson must have been in a offside position when the shot was first hit, but again, they look very dispirited to me. Central and Napier have taken a real grip, and if anything, if it doesn't finish 3-1, you'd suspect it'll be 4 or 5.
Well, they've got the man advantage, Napier. They're taking advantage of it as well. Flag was up there on Stephen Mack. Well, they won the Cup double, Cup and League double in '93. You can see that previous chance, Chris.
It's quite interesting, this. Martin Akers hits the shot low and hard. Now, it's quite interesting. Jackson's in an offside position, but with the new rule, if you're not interfering, if the Akers shot had gone in, it would have counted. And interesting enough, when it comes back off the post and Jackson slots in and he then gets ruled offside, which is a good rule. They brought that in about the last 4 or 5 years, and it's, along with the tackle from behind, has stopped teams from shutting up shot.
Yeah, it's a very good rule, I think. He was in a passive position and then went active when it hit the post. And a lovely shot in from McIver, just trying to curl around the goalkeeper. They've got some skill, this Napier team. And imagination as well, and that's important. It's all right to have the skill, but they try things, and that's what I like in a team. They've got the skill on the park, they've got some pace, but they're very inventive as well. Leon Burney coming on for Paul Jackson. Something like 8 goals in the championship. So he's another goal poacher, Chris.
Yeah, good time to bring on a goal poacher. Jackson, he's done his job. He'd be a little bit disappointed that that one was ruled out. But Burney, he's a bit like Stephen Mack. He knows where the back of the net is, and there's Napier clearly on top here. He'll be coming on quite, I'm sure, looking forward to the last 15, 20 minutes, see if he can get his name on the score sheet.
Here's Atkins for another run down that left. McIver supports him, the number 20. Gets around one defender, cuts to the byline, chance near post, goal, yes! That is a goal for Napier. And superbly taken there by the number 22, Leon Burney. So we said he wanted to get himself on the goal scoring sheet, and he's done it within about 2 minutes of coming on the park.
Well, great play by MacGyver, and that is an absolute superb cross to the near post. And like Stephen Mack's effort, Bernie's done brilliantly. I mean, what an inspired substitution. He whips it into the near post. It's got pace on it. And again, the golden rule is you just got to get that half a yard in front of your defender, and that is a superb finish. No wonder he's got 8 goals this season. That's a class finish.
Well, they've got a very deep bench, Napier, when you can have a player of his quality not starting. And this long-range shot in, took a deflection, and it was turned wide in the end by Paston. The final touch came from Stephen Mack. So some hectic play in the 6-yard box.
It's been entertaining stuff all round. Good strike. I think it flicks off a defender, hits the post. Stephen Mack, he can't quite get it out from under his feet. I think he hits the post again. But watch MacGyver here, skips past Hawke, who dived in when he shouldn't, whips the cross in. Look at that, outstretched leg into the corner of the net. Entertaining stuff.
So Central 1, Napier 4, and that is a very attractive scoreline for the fans of the World Game, the Hawke's Bay region. And that's a pretty high challenge by Jonathan Taylor.
Again, I think Derek Ruggs had a reasonable game, but I just wonder about the consistency there. Fred de Jong got a second yellow card for, to me, an accidental collision, and he's just, Jonathan Taylor has gone right through the back of the attacker, and nothing happens.
Floating ball into the middle. Ferry Colton nods it down. Chance for Central. Here's Noah Hickey, and it took a deflection off Taylor for the Central corner. So Julovic with the corner for Central. Taken deep. A useful one, turned wide by Paston. Mackie tries to exploit his pace around Ravenhill. Burney lobs it to space. Here's Pilcher. Got some good pace, the number 8. Leon Burney did very well, and that was a strong challenge in on Bruce Hill.
Miracle time now, though, isn't it, for Central? 4-1 up with Napier. Just over about 12 minutes to go, and down to 10 men. You'd have to say it's a real miracle, otherwise it's all over. And Napier totally on top, confident, looking the part, and I suspect would like to even get another 1 or 2.
Well, Burney's looking the most likely to score for Napier. He's got some good pace up front. It's a poor ball across. Opened the door there for the Rovers, but a second bite at the back. Number 21. Here's Gareth Rowe. Long ball forward. Noah Hickey makes a good run. Can he get around the goalkeeper? No, he can't.
Well, they've done the right thing there, Central. They've now thrown Noah Hickey right up front. And clearly, you know, it's desperation stakes. Noah with his pace. It's really a question now of knocking in, I think, long balls, looking to try and get in behind Napier and use Hickey's pace to cause some problems. Again, though, I'm just surprised they're still playing with a sweeper. Michael Redenton still tucked in behind at the back there. I think it's got to be, hey, throw everything at it now.
Brian Hawke, as the change has been made. Robbie Parker coming on. Player coming off is Scott Pilcher. Akers. Taylor. He's got a player out wider in Gilbertson. Here's Burney. Ravenhill is prepared to knock the ball around. Play the possession game at the moment. Napier, they know they've got the double well within reach. It's just a matter of keeping their concentration. And barring an absolute miracle, they'll be lifting the Chatham Cup final. Nicholson's the goalkeeper for Central United, former Kings player and all white. Atkins. The cut has been outstanding. One of the players of the match, perhaps man of the match tonight. Long ball forward, but that was poorly delivered. And you're right, Chris, they just need to just pump the ball in for the likes of Noah and also the other substitute, just to exploit their pace. Stephen Mack.
Got to admire this Napier back four though. Gilbertson, who's really, again, another one you've hardly noticed, but has done really well. Cotton, Jonathan Taylor. To be honest, I think they've got too much at the back there for Central to break them down.
Here's Brian Hawke. He's taken down in a late challenge, and that's a card. And you talk about the consistency. Well, I think the referee has been just a touch struggling in that department. Derek Rugg. Was a challenge from, well, more the side from behind, but he certainly did claim the legs of Brian Hawke. So it was definitely a foul. Vuksic will take the free kick. Can they create something from the dead ball? Floats it in to the back post. Good header! Hit the post. Superbly taken there by Ulevic. That was pure quality by the number 18.
What a good header. I didn't think the delivery was actually that great. It was sort of curling away on the back post, but Vuksic came in and made something of it with a bullet header. And here it is. As the cross comes in, you're really looking to get him behind the defenders, but look at Ulevic. Comes in and makes something of it. Rockets the header past Paston. Smacks off the post. I think that's Stephen Mack with his striker's instincts in around there. And Mack Paston was very relieved to see Vuksic, to see Ulevic whack the rebound over the bar.
Well, that has provided a bit of late spice for Central. Would have been interesting if that went into the back of the net.
Had to, really, didn't it? They needed that and another one the next 5 minutes. But good on them, they're not throwing in the towel.
They've got more shots on target, 6-5. Gareth Rowe. Hawke down the right, he's got good pace. Tries to get to the byline. Now he'll cut back, but it's over for a goal kick. But importantly, they brought in some pace to the second half, and Fred de Jong going off was a big blow to them. They really had to reorganise the midfield.
Here's his header again. Look at him come in. Ulevic powers it in off the post, comes back, and he gets in over his own rebound and heaps the defenders in front of him. Cracking header.
Here's Noah Hickey searching for Ulevic, but a couple of times players have made runs and just the touch has been lacking, as opposed to Napier, who've got those ball players in midfield that can find a target.
Yep, exactly. And then in that attacking third, the number of times that Central's passing, when they're just either trying to get it in behind the defence or get it to feet, it's actually been quite poor at times. When Napier, on the other hand, some of the quality they're passing in around there has been excellent. Jimmy Cudd's out of the game a little bit the last 10 minutes, but the damage is done, and he's really set the scene with that superb individual strike early on.
Well, Central have a perfect record in cup finals. Orchard won this for Nicholson, but he came way off his line and just bombed the ball out of play. Central won in 97 or 98, unbeaten in Chatham Cup finals, but I think that record will be blemished here tonight. Napier scored the double. 93, as some fans are leaving the stadium. So it'll be the Blue Army back to the Hawke's Bay region. Central 1, Napier 4. In what's been a pretty high quality cup final here at North Harbour Stadium. And I'm sure you've enjoyed the action here on Sky Sports. Ross Nicholson searching for Hawke. He'll try to flick the ball back. Here's a touch for Robbie Parker off the bench. Gilbertson into Ravenhill. Tries to turn around the defender. No whistle on play. Denton. Good ball in behind the defence. Noah Hickey. Can he get free? Cuts back and well taken at the near post there by Mark Paston.
Another good example of Hickey's pace there. Good ball knocked in by Redenton, which looked like the defenders were going to cope with comfortably, and Hickey broke into the channel. Good pace, attacked the defender, couldn't quite finish off the move with a quality cross.
Mark Paston has covered his lines pretty well in goal. He's been very aware. And I suppose you can be when you're supported by a rock-solid defence. No such luxury for Ross Nicholson. It's been a little bit more leaky at the back for Central United. Ravenhill. Akers lifts the ball, searching for McIver. It's almost slow motion stuff now. Can Napier fashion another goal out of his cup final? Cud. We've got some numbers down the right-hand side. Cud lifts the eyes, and that's a risky ball. Knocked back to Atkins. Taylor. And here's Gilbertson. They're prepared to be patient. I think that's the great strength, although it's come unstuck now. Presents the chance here for Stephen Mack. A very quick player. Look at him take on the defender, Atkins, but again, just the final touch leading him down. He's got the pace, but perhaps not the subtlety, Chris.
Yeah, he's tried hard since he's come on. Did well when he got them back in the game with his strike. But Napier have done the right thing. They're just keeping possession, being patient, knocking it around. If there's an opening, they'll go forward. But I think now both sides know it's all over. Napier, they're quite content with what's happened. Central, too tired and a bit dispirited, I think, and not really now capable of doing much about it.
Here's Cud. Cuts back. An awkward one there for the Central defence. Bride Hawke, who's provided some spark off the bench in the second half. There's a chance for Hill. And that's a poor ball delivered forward by the number 2, Denton, captain. Well, they're a proud football area, the Hawke's Bay region, and they'll be celebrating 2 trophies this season, which is no mean feat. And they're looking to go out in style here. Gilbertson.
Yeah, they've done it the hard way the last couple of weeks, haven't they? A little bit of the controversy over having to replay their semi-final, play midweek, come up with a huge, tough game against University Wellington last week, went on penalties, and today they've come out and showed some real quality. Not only have they won by 4 goals to 1, the quality of the goals has just been outstanding, and their football has matched it. It's been a top effort.
Redenton searching ball in. Noah Hickey. Mack lays it off. Chance here and a cracking shot in from their number 8, Vuksic. But again, it's just a wall defence for Napier. Very hard to get through. Perry Cotton always looks to have so much time at the back. Here's Redenton. Square ball for Hill. The run made by Hawke down the right, but Hill will have to check back. And Rowe forced to concede back to the goalkeeper. Very much the story of the night for Central United, who just lacked that fluency that Napier so well expressed in the first half in particular. And here's cut away through midfield. Two players in the middle, Bernie and also Akers. One-on-one with the goalkeeper. He lobs him, and it just floats over the crossbar. Well, that would have been a great effort. 2 goals from the substitute in the second half, but not to be for Bernie.
It was good football around. Jimmy Cudd, class here. You can't see, he's just slipped the ball. Bernie made the diagonal run, which was excellent, and he's just tried to dink the goalkeeper and got too much on it. But again, Jimmy Cudd, great composure and a lovely little 5-metre ball to put Bernie through, and he'd made a superb run to get on the end of it.
Central 1, Napier 4. And it's really been a true reflection on the dominance of Napier in this Chatham Cup final. Leon Bernie's been live wire since coming off the bench, the number 12 for Napier. Atkins dispossesses Hawke. Cudd has had a lot of room to operate in midfield. Good centering header and a chance here for McIver. But Redenton defended very strongly in the middle. Cudd just gets around the defender very well. And that is full time. So Napier lift the double in New Zealand football. First the league, now the Chatham Cup. And they are very impressed with the performance, so they should be. Marty Akers has toiled very hard. They've done it the hard way. And the fans will be very impressed with this double. Central United not to be. They certainly weren't aided in the second half of the sending off of Fred de Jong, but they're absolutely thrilled, Chris, aren't they?
And so they should be. This has been a superb performance by them, a real team effort, and perhaps enlightened by 1 or 2 individuals that have shown class. Jimmy Cudd, to me, was just superb in the middle of the park. The defence was outstanding, and the game's really been lit up by the quality of the goals. You wouldn't see better finishing than what we've seen today. Good on you, Jimmy Cudd. You and your team deserve all the accolades that you get today. And Fred de Jong, his sending off is a shame. I don't believe it changed the game at all. And the only thing I'll say, David, is hopefully that'll encourage Fred to come back and play another season for the Kings and not leave his career on that note.
Well, it's not a good way to end your career, and there is the Napier City Rovers team full of verve in the middle of the pitch, and look at the stats, pretty even really considering the 4-1 goal line.
Yeah, it's not, at the end of the day, it's not the total shots, it's not the shots on target, it's how many go in the back of the net. And clearly the 4 that went in from Napier, every single one of them was, you know, a class goal, ranging from Jimmy Cudd's superb 30-metre effort to Bernie coming on as a substitute and showing his striker's instinct.
So that's the view, a long view, and there's a more intimate view of the Napier City Rovers supporters. And they are really impressed with the performance. And we now cross to Stephen McIver in the middle of the pitch with the losing captain.
Well, Michael, how does it feel?
Pretty bad at the moment, but I think Napier deserved their win, and it probably showed that we had 3 weeks off and we lost our sharpness, and once they got 3 goals up, it was pretty hard to come back. But I did think we showed a lot of character in the second half, you know, losing Fred and still battling on. And all in all, you know, it's been a good final, and I hope everybody enjoyed it, especially the spectators out there. And I'd like to thank our supporters. It's been a tough year this year, and I assure them we'll be back next year with a better one.
It appeared to be one of those nights that things just didn't fall for you.
No, well, I think we hit the bar about 3 times, and you know, every shot they had on goal virtually went in. And you know, what can I say? That's just one of those games.
It's been a good end to the season, though, because you struggled a little bit in the National Club Championship, but in the Cup you come alive.
Yeah, we had a trot there. We lost 7 in a row, and it showed a lot of character to come back from that. I think we won the last 8 games and just got put to the post here. But you know, we're pretty happy with the season. We've had a lot of young players come through, and the club's got to be proud of that. It's a real nurturing ground for New Zealand soccer.
All right, well done for being in the final, and try and enjoy the rest of the night.
Oh yes, I'll have a few beers now. Thank you.
Stephen McIver with Michael Redenton, and some pretty happy Napier City Rovers players. And Stephen is very busy in the middle of the pitch. He's got Marty Akers with him now.
Yeah, Martin, I just think you'd be right at the start of the day. You said we're very confident of winning this thing, and here you are, 4-1. How does this feel?
Superb. That's 14 games unbeaten, and the boys are ecstatic, and the double is awesome.
Now, you said good day. Did Dad come up for this one?
No, he couldn't this time. He's in Palmy, but another one for you, Dad. And also I'd like to say to Pat and Lisa, we'll catch you later, sunshine.
How good is this Napier City Rovers side and the sides that you've been in?
Oh, it ranks amongst the best. Not many teams get to do the double, and I've done it twice in my life, so I'm superb.
Coming back for another crack next year?
Yeah, probably will now. Sorry, missus.
Well done, mate. Go and enjoy it, and congratulations on doing the double.
Thanks, guys. Thanks very much. Cheers.
It's Marty Akers with Stephen McIver, and wasn't he elated? He's a real club man, isn't he?
Oh, he's superb for Napier on and off the park. He's just a credit to the club and to the game.
Well, there's the victorious team. They've won the double. They completed the double back in 1993. And there's the replica of the FA Cup. So it's a great trophy to play for, Chris, and a fitting testament to the winning team.
Yeah, it's a great feeling winning a cup final, and Napier, and it's almost like an action replay of last week, you know, and this club has really been, you know, so important to football in New Zealand. And Marty Akers, you know, he's probably the closest thing to Fred de Jong in terms of the style of play, and he and his team, you know, they've really done themselves proud.
On a fine victory.
So the ceremony.
I'd like to welcome up beaten finalist Central to receive their medals.
So the finalists getting the medals in front of the big grandstand here at North Harbour Stadium. There's Michael Redenton, the captain, who had some good words in the interview with Stephen McIver. Paid tribute to Napier's skill. And a lot of experience in that team, but they've blemished their unbeaten record in cup finals. But no chance today. The way Napier played, they shut the gate pretty early.
Yeah, he's been a good player, Michael Redenton. He's had a great career. But I think what came through me listening to him talk was he knew that the best side had won on the day, and he was making no excuses, and did good on him, because I think Napier must deserve all the credit for, I thought, an excellent performance.
It's a good touch to have the medals for the runners-up in the Chatham Cup final. And a good moment for the younger players too, because they can absorb the moment and really learn from the experience of, you know what they say in sport, Chris, you have to lose to learn how to win.
Exactly, and it's good to see Kevin Stratford there, the chairman of New Zealand Soccer, handing out the medals. A good centre-back in his days, and I think he actually won the Chatham Cup himself. There's Mr. Stratford, and he and the new board of Soccer New Zealand the last 18 months have done a lot of good work. The Steve Sumners, Mark Burgess, Ian Wells have brought another dimension to the game.
I have one for free.
And now is all in readiness for the winning team. The second time as winners on this podium in consecutive weeks as well.
Okay, Napier, come and get your prize.
Napier City Rovers lift the trophy for the third time, and the second double for them, won back in 1993. It's a great trophy, isn't it? And a fitting one for Marty Akers to lift.
Very impressive trophy, and I don't think he'll have any problems in getting that above his head. And I still can't get over the quality of the goals today, David. I just, you know, people watching the game today, these goals are as good as anything you would have seen around the world.
Well, the lid nearly coming off. There'll be some champagne flowing from that cup, I would suggest. There's Jimmy Cudd for mine. He was close to man of the match. How did you see it?
Oh, yeah, Jimmy Cudd was my man of the match. I thought he was inspirational in the middle of the park, and his first goal, not only was it the quality of the goal, but it actually set the tone for the game and put Central back on their heels. Mark Paston, he had a better game today too. I thought he was good and solid at the back, along with that back four. Atkins, Jonathan Taylor, Perry Cotton, they were superb.
So the winning team there, and Ricky Herbert's been a great player for New Zealand. He was on the losing end today. He's down with Stephen McIver.
Ricky, hard to watch someone else lifting the trophy today.
Oh, yeah, it's a big thing, Steve, but, you know, well done to Napier. They've had a super season. We've, you know, we had a hiccup halfway through the year. Who thought we'd be here in the Chatham Cup final?
you know, we believed that we could come here and make a good match of it. We really struggled in the first half. Fred de Jong sending off. We got ourselves back into it a wee bit in the second half, but certainly on the wrong end of the ledger today, Steve.
Yeah, but it's been a good weekend for football, hasn't it?
Hey, it's been a great weekend. I think it's a huge reminder to people out there in New Zealand that the domestic scene's alive and well, and there's a lot of good footballers in the country. And albeit on the wrong side of it today, you know, like I say, well done to Napier. There's some good players, you know, at North Harbour that we've seen, you know.
All right, we'll go and sort yourself out. Have a quiet one. King's just around the corner. Get your larynx ready.
Yeah, cheers, Steve. Thanks, mate.
All right, Ricky Herbert, coach of Central United, the losers in this one tonight, in the where Central United have gone down to Napier City Rovers 4-1. So just to my over here, we have Napier City Rovers doing what they do best, celebrating, and they have done it so well, haven't they? Last week they won the Qantas New Zealand National Club Championship, and today they have won the Bluebird Chatham Cup. Jimmy Cutt having just one of those wonderful days and picking up the Jack Batty Memorial Trophy for Player of the Day. He had a scorcher of a first goal, as everybody will realise was one of those really special ones in the cup final. And then you had to, of course, everything goes right for Napier City Rovers. Bernie comes on in the number 12 shirt with his first touch. He scores the 4th goal. So that just wraps up a wonderful footballing double few. Last night the Chilean Olympic team defeated the Football Kings 1-0, but tonight belongs to Napier City Rovers. They are the double champions in season 2000. They have won the National Club Championship and they have won the Bluebird Chatham Cup by defeating Central United here at North Harbour Stadium this evening 4-1. Stick around, the Kings season is not too far away, live on Sky.